Matt here with us. Matt is with the Georgia Utilities Coordinating Council. And it is, Matt, you call it National Digging Day, a Safe Digging Month?
Digging Month? National Safe Digging Month, April.
Oh, okay.
And Matt is the utility manager for Fayette County.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt, for coming in.
So, man, this is something a lot of people really don't think about. I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't realize that April was that month. But the way you explain it, Matt, it makes perfectly good sense because this is the time people, want to go outside and start digging and planting and, pulling up old dead shrubbery and that type of stuff. And you got to be careful when you just go digging, right?
That's right. What most people don't think of is this is the kickoff season for digging. So I like to say 'tis the season to call 811.
Yeah.
Because now that everybody's out, they're thinking about those new flowers, replacing their mailboxes, things of that nature.
Right.
And we just want to remind them to call 811 3 days prior to doing the digging. That way all the utilities can be marked. It's a free service and it makes it where you do not interrupt your internet service, or worse, you don't want to be working from home, not have internet service.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kids don't have their phones. That could be a bad situation, but even worse if you get into a gas line, then we're tying up first responders.
Yeah.
That could be, with the medical emergencies
Right.
and things of that nature. So we're just trying to bring awareness to it.
Oh, that's good. And you said it's free, so that's a good deal.
That's correct. It's
Yeah.
a free service. You just dial 811, give them the information, and
Right.
you will see all the utilities come out, marks, flags, everything in your yard. So don't be alarmed when you see them. We get a lot of calls that some people aren't aware
Right.
why the work is out there, and
Right.
sometimes they're doing fiber upgrades and things through neighborhoods now. So you're going to see a lot more of them.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's all. So let me ask you something. On these lines that's buried underground, typically are they buried? So how far are they buried now? So apparently they're not buried very far.
So here's what happens in the process. Each utility has their own specification. Usually your telecommunications is 36 inches.
Oh, okay.
And your power and your gas is normally 48 inches.
Right. Oh, okay.
What happens in the process when they're doing a subdivision is they will adjust the elevations of the lots after the utilities are in. So that's one of the questions we get a lot is, why don't you tell us what the depth is?
Right.
Because with the technology we have, most of the time it's not accurate. It could be reading from one of the sides, it could be reading from the top or the bottom, and if you give somebody a specific footage and they hit that line, then they want to dispute the fact that it was not marked properly.
And I'm sure it could not only disrupt that person's service, but it can disrupt all the neighbors as well.
You're spot on with that.
And like you said too, with the gas line, that's very dangerous to begin with, and the water lines too. Just like you said, tie up resources, and it can get very expensive too for them to have to come out and repair that, right?
That's correct. And one of the other things I wanted to convey is when you have work done at your home, make sure your contractor calls in that 811 ticket, because the 811 ticket is a legally binding contract between the caller and every utility that's on that ticket. So we have had some incidents where we have contractors that are not from in town. They ask the homeowner to call and they damage, they take off. It sounded like you had an incident with that.
Yeah.
And they're gone, there's a damage, and the utility's looking for the person to send the invoice to. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. I had that very same thing with some dead shrubbery being pulled up near the water meter. And I guess the roots wrapped around the lines, they yanked it up, water's everywhere.
Well, that comes out of it, huh?
Yeah. In the meantime, they're gone.
They've already hightailed it out of town, left you with it, huh?
Yeah. And so this is like a late Friday evening, so I'm scrambling. But luckily, the folks over at Coweta Water, right to the rescue. So I was fortunate enough to get quick response, but it could be something very serious. So let me ask you this, Matt. Now, as far as just a regular garden, people want to do a regular garden, and I know some people do garden year after year. So I'm pretty sure they're safe, but if you're digging starting a garden in an area you don't normally or hadn't previously gardened before, is that a reason to call 811?
Every reason is a reason to call. The one thing most people don't think about is there are a lot of utility easements that are not located within the right of way. So each utility locates from the street to their meter. The meter for water is still within the right of way. Everybody else is on the house, but if you happen to have a larger parcel that may have one of the countrywide pipeline services,
yeah.
or you can have a gas easement or a power easement, and there are some telecommunication easements as well, you may not be aware of, especially if you've just acquired the property. So, like I said, the call is free, so
even
best
if
to just do it.
Even if it's just gardening and you're not digging that deep gardening, you still want
That's
to
correct.
still be better safe than sorry.
Even with a flower bed, because you don't know where they ran and unfortunately, your plumbing line for water does not get marked. It's only marked to the meter, so from the meter to the house, you actually own that facility. They will not mark it, so let's make sure it's clear with that. But with your telecom line, that they're gonna mark to the house, and that's the one you really don't wanna get into other than your gas and power.
Wow, okay.
Especially like the fiber optic, if that ever gets cut, that can be a challenge to put that back together to start with, and hours of time. And like I said, that's expensive.
Fiber splicing is very expensive.
Somebody's got to pay for it.
That's correct.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. Well, that's good, man.
You brought
That's good information.
You brought some cards by here, and they have the flags, the different colors of flags, and what they mean.
That's correct.
And this is really helpful. Like electric, gas is yellow, the reclaimed water, irrigation's purple, sewer and drain lines are green. And you brought some of these by here. So if anyone would like some of these, you can stop by the station and pick them up. We've got a few of them here. Just good to keep on hand just in case. I mean, if you're out and you see that and you want to know exactly what it is, well, you got this right here to help you out with it.
Absolutely, and it also helps you understand who your providers are in your neighborhood as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, very good.
That is good stuff. Oh, cool, man. Really appreciate that.
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
Call before you dig, okay?
Yeah, you really don't think about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it is free service.
It is free service, so you can dial it from any phone, 811, it's direct. You can also register online. They have an online module that you can do that, so it makes it a lot simpler than trying to wait on an operator.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, well, Matt, Utility Manager for Fayette County, thank you so much for coming by. And also Cynthia, thank you again, has helped set this up. We do appreciate that. And again, we always enjoy having folks come in and, just talk about things in the community, and especially something like this. As we mentioned, it can be very dangerous, especially as you mentioned with the gas lines that are buried and even the electrical lines as well. So don't forget to call 811. So I get my phone numbers mixed up. I should know that by now. But Georgia 811. So again, thank you, Matt and Cynthia, for coming by this morning.
Yeah,
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Y'all remember April is National Recognized as Safe Digging Month, but that same rule applies every month of the year, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So,
year round.
yeah, thank you.
All righty, it's